It's that time of year again. Audrey, thank you so much, Jesus. Let me also pivot to talking to our guy, Jesus, by saying, thank you, Lord, for another year together. This is, well, by next April, it'll be 8 years of the called career and quite a few years of you being here, Audrey. And I'm just so grateful that we get to do this again. For any of the uninitiated, every year we do a year in review where we'll talk about, well, the sections kind of change, but generally we'll talk about what goals we set out to do last year as a recap and how those actually went, like an Instagram versus reality. And then the lessons that we learned along the way and what we are looking forward to and hoping for in the new year. I always love listening to podcasters doing this, even if it's like not necessarily related to the niche the podcast is in. I'm just like, how are you doing really? Like, what do you like? How did those goals pan out? What are your actual goals behind the scenes? So we indulge in a little bit of that. If you enjoy it around here, this is our version. So welcome. How's it going, Audrey?
Good. Happy to be here. This was quite a year. This was quite a
Quite a
year.
year. Yeah. To commemorate it being quite a year, apparently, if you're on YouTube, you'll see that we chose team matching outfits today unintentionally.
Unintentionally, because we're synced up.
We're so synced up. Well, I think that we should just go right into it. I think it's really interesting. You and I had such a funny time reviewing our document and outline for last year's podcast. Like, what did we set out to do? Really, it was pretty simple, but wild. We sought to 10x our business revenue. We'll let you know how that went. And then on a personal front, you wanted a boyfriend and I wanted a baby. So we're gonna do the grand reveal. Audrey, what's your dating status?
So I would like to formally report that I do have a boyfriend.
And he's
Kelsey,
amazing.
and he's amazing.
And y'all are so serious.
And we're so serious. And I love him so much.
So serious. I am all I'm saying is, to be completely unprofessional, I can't wait to go to your wedding, if the Lord wills. Can't wait. The Lord was so faithful, and I would love to hear more about that journey, because obviously, like, oh my gosh, that is a goal that is so close to my heart. I spent so many years wondering if this is the year that I'm gonna meet my husband, or like enter a dating relationship that seems promising enough to go that direction. So I'd love to hear more about how that went. But should we also, like, what happened to my goal?
What happened to your goal? You said you wanted a baby. How did that go?
Well, I know that you said, like, we're so synced. We actually can't sync on periods anymore because I don't have one. That's my pregnancy announcement. No, I cannot actually believe that that's the way I announce my pregnancy, because I haven't even done like an Instagram post or anything like broader. People do not know, but I think it's about time.
I think so too.
After 21 months of trying, so that's almost 2 years since I got married and we decided to try right away. The Lord is so gracious, and he has just like really he's made me a mom, and I'm just so grateful. Of course, I haven't met her yet because it's a girl. But she's 15 weeks along, or we're 15 weeks along together, and she's due in early June. But it could be a month anywhere, like plus 2 weeks plus minus that time. And I'm just so grateful. I actually I would love to share more about this, because obviously, like, a 2-year infertility journey is a whole subject of its own, and that I feel like would be better shared as a testimony in its own episode. So I went ahead and already recorded that, and we'll share that later into January. So that'll be coming soon. But yeah, thank you, Jesus. I am actually into my second trimester.
Wow.
So I might not have gotten super rich this year, but emotionally, I feel very rich.
Yeah, and I just remember us saying it out loud on the podcast last year. You know, you
Yeah.
want a baby, I want a boyfriend. And we
It
were
felt
like, we're just going
scary.
to say it. We're going to say it and put it out there
Yeah.
and see what happens.
It felt really vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like you just don't know if that's ever gonna happen. Or if you'll be the girl that like never gets pregnant or never finds love. And I'm just so grateful. And I wonder how that's like changed your view of work. It's kind of like for me, once I still maintained my ambition and vision for work as I dated and got married. And I still do have it as I am preparing to become a mother. Am I a mom? I don't know. I kind of feel like a mom. I think about her all the time. But as I'm preparing to enter the fates of motherhood, it's still there. It just changes. And because I realize like I actually am like less desperate to get like a lot of emotional uh like identity from my work because I just feel so full on like my marriage relationship and my mothering, like my future as a mom. It's coming from like I'm not working to like fill a hole anymore. And so I just get to do it because I believe in serving people and I
Mm-hmm.
believe in doing redemptive work that I hope makes it at least just one tiny little bit more like heaven on earth. Um, but how has that been working now that you have like a love that's really, really awesome?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked that because I was actually planning on talking about that because it has really impacted the way I work in a positive way. Where, don't get me wrong, there was a moment of, oh, is this guy my husband? And then I'm never gonna work again,
I
right?
definitely had
It,
that. I definitely asked Kevin if I could stop working. And then I was like, wait, what?
and then you kind of come down from that high and you're like, oh wait, life actually does need to continue, right? So and I say that with a lot of positivity because I want to keep working. Um, but I get to see work in a whole new way where I felt like before I was, looking for so much fulfillment out of my job, kind of what you were saying. But to add on to that, I was also looking for a lot of security and thinking about my future. And I think so many single women relate to this of it's only me. I got to take care of me. There's no one else involved in this picture right now. And there's so much pressure. So actually having more of a plan that I can see being put into place for where it's not going to be only me makes me feel so free and like I can truly do anything and I can like conquer the world, which is
If you
so
wanted
cool
to.
if I wanted to. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That is amazing.
yeah, where I get to chase more, which I was already in this job. I was already chasing the passion job over
Mhm.
the corporate job, if you want to just I'll put it like that. Um, but I feel so much more freedom in that now, and I feel a lot less stress, I suppose. I don't know if I would have been able to name that stress when I was single, but now being in a dating my boyfriend,
Yeah.
I can name it. I can see how much pressure I did feel. And now I feel a lot of that
Yeah.
pressure relieved. Like, wow, I get to
I am
just
so
serve other people.
grateful. And for every guy that absolutely can't relate to what we're saying, I'm so sorry. Please keep on taking the weight of the world off our shoulders. So thank
Yes.
you for your service.
Thank you for your service and know that this is maybe how you make your lady feel.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I know we do support a good bit of clients that are the primary breadwinner as a woman. And so, absolutely, that can be a structure that you choose for your family. But we're just sharing our perspective in case you happen to relate with the way that we've chosen to like well the vision for our individual lives.
Mhm.
And I definitely like to work from overflow and passion. And Kevin, God bless him, likes a challenge. I'm like, to a certain level, kind of can relate. On a deeper level, can't relate.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like working all the time, and I'm like, how? Anyway, like to the level of 6 or 7 days a week. But uh, all to say, we were going into a recap of last year's goals and what actually happened. And so I do feel like we should probably give like a little bit more color to the business side of things, because there was like a lot of hope and drive and things that we tested. And then there was also disappointment, and there was restructuring, and then there was wins from that. And there's so much beauty still. So I just wanted to share that because, like a peek into our business and also how we experience it personally, just as like Audrey and Kelsey. Because you have your own way that you experience the behind the scenes of your job, and you're not alone in that. And so here's ours in case that can encourage you. And so, yeah, last year I was fresh off of reading 10x is Easier Than 2x by Dr. Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan. There's another book by Grant Cardone that's like really obnoxious by that similar title. It's like 10x, I think it's just the title. And it's like basically this concept that um, I haven't heard of a woman writing about this concept with an adrenal system that she would like to keep intact, just to be honest. If you know of one, let me know, but it wasn't me this year. I was getting all like pumped up on this like why not, which I love, that like a possibility mindset of like, if I have this one wild and precious life, why don't I just go ahead and see if this year I don't have to just buy into incremental small growth. Like, is it just a mindset and an effort issue? Could I just like blow the roof off of things? I appreciate the desire that led me and you to commit to that experiment. Um, Ultimately, the fruit that came from it was a lot of humility, as well as some lessons on, now that I'm just like honestly rebuilding business savings from the experiments that didn't go so well in that venture, to like burn bright and fast. I do have a much more mature, informed view of how I can re engage with incremental growth for the future from a level of contentment. And I know what strategies are going to work better next time, most likely. But there has also had to be like a restabilization period after I was testing out so many things, and it was like burning up cash. It was really painful. And so, if anybody like explores our service and is like, wow, that's a couple $1,000s, that's hard investment. Like, know that I do that all the time for business things. And, to the tune of like $20,000 were lost in an experiment that didn't work. And that's not like fake business money. That was my money. And so that hurt. And so, if you are curious about like the experiments that we tried, so basically, the majority of our clients come to us through this podcast as well as Google. So most people find us by typing in Christian career coach or Christian career counselor, as well as referrals. So that's like the basis of our business. That has always been our bread and butter. It provides for Audrey and I, and we're just fine, and Tim. Um, and seeking to like really scale beyond that, I decided to participate in trying out paid ads through Meta. So they go to Facebook and Instagram. And I was willing to go through the emotional ups and downs of that. I knew that it was a trial and an experiment that took some grit. And I really, really like, I gave it more, like all the months my ad managers told me to keep testing. I didn't give up early, but that also meant that because I didn't pull out quickly, I lost a lot of money. But I was like doing the full experiment in earnest to see if it was going to work. Did it grow our list? Yes. Did we get clients from it? Yes. But ultimately, what happened was I did actually, ironically, end up figuring out an ad funnel that brought really great people into our client group. And that was awesome. But by that time, like finally, after months, this is all throughout like last fall and early spring, after months of the daily stress of money going out and like a ton of sales calls, like our sales call calendar, or our like, I guess it's called like free consultation calendar. They were more full than ever. We were talking to like a record number of people, and so many of the leads that were coming in from these ads, it just like wasn't aligned for either them or us. And so like doing the break fix of all that was such like a daily race. And it's one that I'm glad that I tried, because I would have always wondered, like, could am I just holding back because of fear? Like, maybe I really should just take the risk and go for it. So I did take the risk, and ultimately, like I teased, we actually found one that started to work. And right as it started to work, and I was like really looking forward to, now I get to make back on this investment. Um, Facebook restricted the account, the ad account, due to no fault of my own. And this has happened to me multiple times. And I just realized, due to our niche as Christians, um, that are also dealing with like an employment based subject. Of course, like I was working with experienced ad managers. I wasn't just doing this myself, to learn how to abide by community guidelines and make sure that I don't participate in trigger words that make it seem like I'm putting out ads that are like a Title VII discrimination, like on the basis of religion for employment and things like that. And so we were getting around that, but still, um, it was all because, yeah, I hope that this isn't boring for people, but I just want to share in case someone is wondering, like, what really happened, what did happen. And I don't want to be overly vague about it. Um, because I know some people might really helpfully reach out and say, "Oh, I do ads and it worked really well for me." And I'm so glad. And I am open to hearing that. But the fact of the matter is, in 2019, when I was a very, very, very new business owner and had no idea what I was doing, I decided to create a Facebook ad on my own, through my, so you have to link your business account to your personal account. I submitted an ad for review that was rejected because I didn't realize like there were certain things that I needed to be very careful about, that they flag as like, um, yeah, you can't put Christian and job in there because it looks like, that's a Title VII discrimination in the United States. And so that got rejected. And I was like, oh, okay, I just like won't, I don't understand this. Maybe now's not the time. I don't really want to spend money on it. And I just forgot about it. What ended up happening was my little baby business self permanently stunted my relationship with Facebook. And unless you're like really in the weeds and have spent a lot of money on ads and have really gone through this and also worked with an experienced ads manager, you probably don't understand that it works this way. Since I got permanently restricted just because I didn't like, I didn't go through the process of like resolving that, and I didn't realize that it left an open ticket. And so somehow I got permanently flagged as, this person does not abide by community guidelines. And so years, like many years later in 2025, when I log back into my business ads manager account, this is 6 years later, thinking, oh, I'm ready to like do ads for real. And it says I'm permanently restricted from advertising. And I did all this stuff, months and months and months of work, seriously, to try to get in contact with their support and explain, like, that was nothing. I'm sorry, what? I'm so confused as to why I'm restricted. Um, it ended up that I had just pretty much put a permanent, um, I'm permanently blocked, and it also implicated our business name, the Call to Career. So if I ever create a different account, or and we did workarounds of like, I think we used like other accounts in yours at one point. But if I did anything or posted even any picture that looked like old imaging or used the term the Call to Career in my ads, which is so awkward to not be able to use your own business name. Wow, it would flag Facebook back to, this is a fraudulent account. This is permanently restricted. And then it put like even my ads managers accounts at risk. And so we kept on trying to work around it. And I kept on having like really fighting to have a resourceful mindset of like, there's always something I could do. You can't tell me there's not like, there's always something I could do. It ended up, just, I hit so many walls that I just was like, wow, okay, this door is really shut for me. And it's because of a silly mistake I made as like a baby business owner in 2019, unknowingly. And so it's amazing that the system actually allowed me to spend a tremendous amount of money, and then only just start having a funnel that worked, and then it restricted me again. I may be able to unrestrict it, but at that point, like because of more workarounds that I'm willing to do, but at that point, I just fully was like, I think I really am against like over spiritualizing these things. I really don't like it, honestly, when people are like, I think God is shutting this door for me. I'm like, really? I don't know. I kind of think that like throw your shoulder into it. Maybe that doesn't agree with certain people's discernment, but it's a little bit more of the way I tend to. I just feel like people are a little quick to call something a closed door when actually it's a time for perseverance and discipline. So you could see future ads from us in the future, but and Audrey, you ended up saying something that like shook me this summer.
Like what?
It wasn't any big deal. I said, you know what? I just don't have peace about continuing with this anymore. And you said, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you. You never say that, because I don't believe in like just following the peace, because I think this life is hard and that's really dumb, and I don't see that in the Bible. But because I'm like, Moses didn't have peace, Jesus Christ didn't have peace going to the cross. Who else? Um, Jonah didn't have peace. He had to forcefully be put into his calling. And so I kind of just assumed that posture, but I ended up being like, oh, wow, okay, once again, this is just one of the 1,000,005 lessons I need to learn in life, that wisdom is not found in extremes, it's found in the middle. And the Bible is full of tensions. Like wisdom is found between tension of two extremes. That could be true, possibly, but you're left in the middle, just having to rely on the Holy Spirit to ask for wisdom and discern and take each situation as it comes. And so I did come to a point of like, wow, I think that there is like a time to say, like, I truly have no peace about giving Meta any more money. And so, yeah, that was kind of like a aha moment. In the process, I did learn that ads given to Christian business owners to have an advertisement of ours placed on their Christian newsletter works incredibly well. So that is something that likely I'll go into in the future. But I think I just had to have like a repairing season, um, as right after we like the final this has to stop drama with attempting to scale happened in around May. Then I started to experience a lot of health issues. I had, and I go into this a little bit more in the Trying to Conceive podcast that you'll hear in a few weeks, but of my testimony. But yeah, I had like emergency room visits, bed rest, um, other things that I was doing. Also, like I had to have a surgery for my uh, to resolve what we found was the cause of my infertility. That ended up being a major surgery. So that was kind of June and July. And the end of May was, not only do I have to just stabilize my business and repair like the savings that was lost, but I also just need to repair my body and go into a stabilizing rather than a stretching season. And through that, the Lord taught me just like that I really can be content with a new vision for my life that's a lot simpler. And amazingly, he taught me that immediately before he was set to help me conceive. So he just made me like so content and ready through other means. Ironically, he was softening my heart through my business to picture a life where I'm just holding a baby and I have a very unwitnessed life at home that's like less of a thanked job. Like you don't get as many
Mhm.
thanks for it. Um, and just like wiping up poop because I'm kind of like already doing that, bro. So thank you for listening. That is my honest story about how this year went for me. Obviously, like this fall, upon realizing I'm pregnant, like the fall was really just about we were doing things in business to continually improve. I'm proud of like the story I told is really just on my side of like I'm like growth marketing salesperson, and Audrey, you're like our client lead sustaining person.
Mhm.
And you made, as I was going through all my crap, you were doing so many things to just continue to make our service irrefutably, sorry, not sorry, the best Christian career coaching program you could possibly find. And if there is anything that makes you want to argue that, show me and talk to me about it and we'll just improve our program. So yeah, I want to say like it wasn't all about like the growth and sales and all that. Like we had a lot of good things going on in our core business, but you're just hearing from like the founder perspective that's focused on that. So I think it's a good time to hear from your perspective, Audrey, of
Yeah.
what the behind the scenes this year was for you. Oh yeah, by the way, first trimester was just me throwing up this fall. So I'm back. I'm now that I'm in my second, I'm ready to actually talk about it. She's healed.
I'm so glad. Yeah, it's interesting to hear you recap all of that because you really did take on the pain of all of that. Uh, and I was there to support, but
Mhm.
we were operating two different,
Mhm.
not two different ways, but we had different jobs at that
Yeah.
time, very different jobs. Um, so I saw the ups and the downs from ads. And you inspire me so much in your business leadership with experimentation. Kelsey, I do not have that bone in me. I'm
That's okay. I think I'm
conservative
beating
with
it out of myself.
how. So I think we operate very differently there, but it's so good and it's such a good. I think we complement each other in that. So, like you said,
Thanks.
while you were dealing
Audrey.
with all of that, I was having a more you weren't used the word sustaining. I think that's a good word to reflect on with this year. Creating a more sustaining program, and what I mean by that is, what do I mean by that? Focusing on the program. We gave me a new title this year, head
Big
of
update.
programming. Big update. And that just gave me the freedom to really dive into, okay, what is this program? What do we need to change? What works? What doesn't work? How do we formalize some of these processes, and how do we support people better? That's what it ultimately was coming back to, was how do we support people better so that we could get to the point where I can genuinely look someone in the eyes and say, this is the best service that you will get on the
Mhm.
market. And I believe that. And I remember I said that once, and you said, that's it. That's what we need to have to be able to authentically sell this program to
Mhm.
people and bring people in and be able to serve them. And
Mhm.
I fully believe that we have gotten there, and we'll continue to iterate and um, evolve to continue meeting that mark of believing that we are truly believing we're the best service on the market. But what that looked like this year was more and more like, how can we do more for clients? How can we do more? Which sometimes feels like, to be totally honest, there is a scary part of that where I'm like, I'm just a gal over here, right?
Mhm.
But then I remember that it's not in my strength, and I rely on the Lord, and I look back on what I got done in a day. I'm like, whoa, that was not me. That that was not me. 8 client calls in one day is
Oh my
surely
god.
not me. And that's not a
Wait,
typical day.
really? Oh
That's an
my
extreme.
gosh. I would cry. I
It's
think the most I ever did was like 7.
yeah,
And then I
that's
said,
my
"I can't do that again."
yeah, no, that's an extreme for sure, but on average, four, maybe 5 client calls a day. And I don't, my introvert self could have never seen my being able to do that. And there's certainly a ramping up period to that, but then also just a reality that every day when I'm starting, it's like, Lord, give me the energy and the strength that I need for today, for this call, for this client. Help me show up to their individual, unique story and serve what they need. And that's something that I really appreciate looking back on this year, is that it actually was, how do we do more? I feel like a lot of people think business, I'm open to your input on this as well, that business and work is all about learning how to do less over time.
Yeah.
We're all about doing more over here. Like I'm building my capacity to do more for people.
That's an amazing thing to say, Audrey. I haven't really thought about that, but that is kind of intentionally, unintentionally, the culture that we were trying to buck up against this year. Because I hate the culture of, oh, I can't wait for every year as I look at this coach that I admire and might want to work with for various reasons. Like, I bet they're just getting richer and doing less. And the thing is that I don't like that if it translates to less value for the client, which it typically does. Because I think it's really contributed to this like e-course culture, which largely I have really experimented with, so that I have come to an informed place of really wanting to put more of my effort into one-on-one services, just because I think that it serves people better. Sometimes I think that the like e-product phenomenon of like a passive income business is really not all businesses have an objective or a client promise that's best served through just giving someone knowledge. A lot of people have businesses like ours where our client promise of like helping you discern what you feel called to do and then helping you land a job or start a business that's aligned with it. I don't think that that's best done by just like reading a book or watching a video. I think that the like embodiment of walking through all of that with one-on-one support is really, really big, and that's a reason that they come to us. That also makes it a more emotional, hard, messy business for us. But I believe that like the Lord doesn't just want things to be easy, he wants them to be fruitful. And
Mhm.
so I really appreciate like you worked so hard this year. I feel like my year was just kind of like emotionally hard with the stress of the ups and downs, but like you really have been cranking those hours.
Oh,
And
thank you for
if
saying that.
anybody thinks we're just farting around, I would like to show them your calendar.
Come shadow for a day. And it has led to a space where maybe I hit a place of overwhelm more often, but
Mhm.
that's met with so much more fulfillment and excitement and service. So that's fine by me, and that'll change and evolve over time.
Yeah,
But looking
it'll
back on
change and
this year,
evolve.
yeah,
Because like
and
you want to be a mom too one day.
mhm,
And so yeah, I think it's not like we're not going to figure out a way to make sure you're not burnt out. But yeah,
yeah,
I think that we like tested limits and
yeah, we tested
how much
limits.
can we possibly serve someone.
Right, and it feels good to test limits because I want to see all that we can do. And I saw this in the past month or two, but it feels like it really impacted me. And it was Katie McIntyre, who was formerly with the Career Sprout. She's now doing her own thing.
Yeah,
Um,
we love their coaching practice, but yeah, now
love
doing
what
her
they
own thing.
do. Yeah, she posted on LinkedIn saying a conversation she had with a client early on in her first business, I believe, where her client said, "You have other clients?" He was so shocked that she had other clients, or that she has another client. Not because he didn't think she should, but he didn't know how she could, given the
Wow.
amount of service that she was giving to him. And her response to him was, I have 8 other clients. And that's how I'm trying to
Wow.
be, like providing service to people where they just don't even understand how. we could possibly be serving other people because we're
Shout out to
able to
Katie
give.
McIntyre.
I know, she's awesome.
I need to
Um,
talk to her in the flesh one day. I only was like on a panel with her one time, but I didn't get to like
really?
talk to her directly. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, she's a career hero for sure.
Mhm.
But something that's um, from this year that I think helped me step into a place to have more of this mindset was I actually set a goal for this year when we're reflecting back. I wanted to have self discipline that would rock my socks, was how I said it. And I had a big breakthrough on discipline early in the year that I think set me up for success there, where discipline and devotion kind of go hand in hand, with discipline being more of a masculine trait. I'm sorry, I'm not diving into this fully because it's a very nuanced topic, but discipline falls more on the masculine trait, and then devotion is kind of that equivalent on the feminine side. And I think that they can work together. We all have a little bit of both in us, right? But discipline to me felt very restricting and harsh. And when I started thinking more in terms of devotion, I felt like I was like leaning forward and moving so much more from a place of I was outpouring basically, and rather than feeling like I was being restricted. And that realization earlier on in the year really helped me actually build the discipline that we all see from the outside, like how we typically see discipline. But a big missing piece of that was focusing on devotion. And what I mean by devotion is just really believing I love this work so much, I want to give everything that I can to it. And being so devoted to my goals, so devoted to the service that I want to give, that I have no choice but to show up. I have no choice but to do the call and answer the question. And of course, it's not perfect, but that is really what helped me with self discipline this year. And um, again, like I said, gives me the space to actually be able to talk like this now from an authentic
Mm.
place of I just want to do more. Like, give me more. Which, don't get me wrong, a girl's ready for her vacation, but
Yes.
um,
Yeah.
both things can be true.
Both things can be true. Well, I'm so impressed with you, Audrey. Thanks for sharing that. That is so insightful. I didn't think of that. Devotion versus discipline. Yeah, the devotion feels a lot more feminine and like aligned for me.
Yeah.
By the way, if y'all are like, who are these girlies talking about masculine, feminine energy? We go into that a lot more in our episode about, like, listen to this if you're a woman, like, your motivation isn't supposed to be the same as a man's. You might remember the title better than me, but it's something like that.
Your motivation fluctuates, and that's okay. Something like
Oh,
that.
thank
Listen in
you.
June.
Wow. You're so good at remembering our episode titles. But yeah, that I hope can help you go further into that. And we explain it in more nuance, not trying to like flatten people into just binary types. Sorry, I'm not saying I believe in non-binary. I got into my weird loop where I'm like, somebody could take that soundbite.
We're not putting people in boxes.
Thank you. In terms of masculine and feminine energy, that's not the same as some other things. But wow, how do I recover? Audrey, there were
Um,
some other things on your list about like your retrospective on 2025. Is there anything else you want to share?
oh, yeah. I shared on the episode last year that my word for 2025 was going to be rejuvenate. And that changed before the start of the year, or maybe in the beginning of the year. I feel like my word for the year doesn't really come to me until those final days of the year, or maybe a little bit into the new year. And instead of rejuvenate, my word was light. And it's like, this year is going to be light. I have been I had a few years of just a lot of sadness and working through things, and like life was great, but also I just felt darkness kind of. I was tugging darkness along in my wagon behind me, and I was so sick of it. Like, I got to be done with this. I'm looking to the light. I'm looking to the Lord. I am focusing on the light, and I did not realize how that word was going to is the best word of the year I've ever chosen. I
Mm.
feel so aligned with that word for all the reasons that I just said. I really looked towards happiness and joy and just was sick of the gunk that was kind of keeping me back. And there's way more context there. I didn't just say goodbye, like I'm not sad anymore. Like I had a really big personal breakthrough early in the year that helped me release a lot of stuff that was combined. It was a combination of weekly therapy for 7 months that actually helped me have a breakthrough, and also the Lord just totally miraculously healing me and healing my brain and my heart. And it was beautiful, magical, and has set me up for a year to looking towards the light, but also feeling light and feeling so much lighter. And then I met my boyfriend, and I felt the lightest that I've ever. I didn't know this was possible to feel this light and fresh and airy and not so bogged down with heaviness. And that's also just truly a gift from the Lord, and so many special blessings this year. Of course, life's hard and things will change, but to describe 2025 in retrospect, I would say light and then also free. Feel a lot more free this year than I ever have before. And that's personal and work combined, where I actually wanted to touch on freedom a little bit more in the lessons learned or wisdoms. Maybe we can transition into that.
Yeah, go ahead on that. I think it's a good time to do it.
Yeah, because freedom, or let me take it back to Timothy Keller, right?
The Pope,
And
the Protestant Pope.
yes, no, truly, that's so funny. I, as is the canon event for any Christian couple in their dating season, I read The Meaning of Marriage this year, and something in it stuck out to me. I actually have it right here because I'm going to read from this. A huge lesson that affected the way I see love and work, primarily going hand in hand. So a short little paragraph that I'm going to read on page 21, if anyone wants to follow along.
Follow along, class.
Older cultures taught their members to find meaning in duty by embracing their assigned social roles and carrying them out faithfully. During the Enlightenment, things began to shift. The meaning of life came to be seen as the fruit of the freedom of the individual to choose the life that most fulfills him or her personally. Instead of finding meaning through self-denial, through giving up one's freedoms, and binding oneself to the duties of marriage and family, marriage was redefined as finding emotional and sexual fulfillment and self-actualization. That rocked my world this year. And I'll speak about it from a work perspective because that's the business that we're in. We have this idea of work in today's culture that you should be free, right? You know, like work to live. And that's the purpose of work, is to give you freedom to do whatever you want in your free time, to travel, to take participate in your hobbies. Sure. When really work, there's so much value and value found from obligation in work. And actually, I don't know if I need to even expand on that. The obligation part of it really stuck out to me. And so when I say that a word for 2025 in retrospect was free, it's because I found that I feel so much more free by letting go of the culture's version of free, if that makes sense, and actually finding fulfillment in self-denial.
Yes. So instead of just keeping yourself endlessly open to all the options and very unattached, which will lead to a very vapid existence, you choose the things to be devoted to, and then you make yourself accountable to those things so that you could receive the full benefit from them and grow, like your devotion to work, your devotion to one person, headed towards marriage, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it's so much sweeter because I did the whole work freedom thing, right? I was the digital nomad with the tech sales job and making good money, and that led me to becoming a client here. So obviously it wasn't working.
So funny. Yeah, I completely relate to that. I don't know that I could add anything more beautiful than what you said, Audrey. Thank you so much for sharing that. Um do you want to share about, okay, so we kind of broke this into two sections. What's one thing that you learned about yourself as we went through all the things that we summarized in our year in review? And then, like, what's the wisdom that changed you in that process? Like outside wisdom, it doesn't have to be a lesson about you. Um, I I could share mine if that's okay.
Yeah,
For
which
the
one? The lesson
one,
about you?
yeah, the lesson I learned about myself this year.
Mhm.
Ironically, that I'm sick of learning about myself and that or just like, I think I'm in the art of self forgetfulness kind of era of realizing, um, as you're a child, everything's about you. You assume that, like, and rightfully so, your parents exist for you. Everything exists for you. People want to know about you, hear about you, must be bent towards your will. Um, and then as you become an adolescent, it's like it's the process of assuming that everybody thinks like you and wants what you want and agrees with you, but realizing that that's not true. And that's kind of like a huge arc in adolescence and early adulthood. Like, oh wow, people don't think like me, and reasonable minds disagree. And like, my little view of the world and the small set of things that I've experienced isn't everything. And then in order to handle that broadening of scope, it turns quite existential for a lot of people like me in our 20s, where it's like, well, where am I in all of that sea of the universe and information? And who am I and what do I want? And since everything's up in the air and like there's so many ways to go, what do I do? What do I want? What options can I get? And so, in order to handle the existential time, I felt like I really, really dove inward into like self want, self learning, um, just a very big focus inward. And every year that I've gotten closer to 30s and then now into my 30s now, I think I'm just officially, this year was like, oh wow, yeah, I am so sick of that. Like, I do not give a crap about my latest personality test. Like, if you tell me a fun fact about myself, I'm generally like, oh, that's cute. But I'm kind of like, I don't know, I'm just focused on enjoying my marriage, devoting myself to the keeping of the home and keeping this like in a, I kind of feel like women, especially, I've heard this like said that women and mothers are the system of the home. They're the, like, am I making this a place that we both love to be in and are excited to welcome children into? And then I just think of what I could do for others a lot more now. And so I'm kind of just like in the get to work era of like thinking about what other people need. And it feels so much better. And I feel very immature that it took me 32 years to get here. But I've kind of been a late bloomer in almost all categories. So please forgive me. But yeah, I think this was the year where I'm like, no notes. Like, mostly my lessons were all around like contentment with whatever the Lord has for me and acceptance for like how the dice roll. Just contentment and acceptance in life so I could keep moving and like love God and my neighbor. And I'm sure that I still probably think about myself too much, but yeah, I don't have a ton of
Yeah.
like things that I learned about myself.
Well, I think I like how you honored the whole journey there. If there is this time to think about
Mhm.
yourself a
There
lot.
is a time. Yeah.
There is a time, and um, I feel a little not quite to where you're at right
Because
now,
you shouldn't be. Because you
but
shouldn't be. Yeah.
I do feel a pull in that direction because when I was reflecting on what I learned about myself this year, like I learned that I don't need as much time with myself as I thought I would
Hmm.
and as I used to, which that
Wow.
feels so freeing because I used to have a lot of fears around how am I ever going to have a husband? How am I ever going to have kids? Because I require so much time alone.
Yes. Yes. The moms are probably cackling,
Yes.
but forgive us, okay? We just are like, we're all on the same train, different stations. Like, God has
Absolutely.
us on the progression track. We're just, like, not always there yet.
Mhm.
Because you're not
Yeah.
supposed to be. You do need to think a lot more things about yourself as you're deciding about, like, your life partner, like, what the foundations of your relationship is going to be. You're still very much, like, still 1 foot into, like, I would say the everything era, the existential era.
Mhm.
And I think that it's more appropriate for me to feel how I feel because I'm like 2 years into marriage, like ready to like thinking a lot about like self-sacrifice and parenthood. But that I think if you can enter into that early, maybe there's like good redeemable things about that. I can't make a generalization. But then there's also like if you didn't use the 20s time to really feel those feelings, think those thoughts, then you might no shame end up working with us as you're
Yeah.
50 years old, like saying, I don't know myself and I don't know what I
Yeah.
want or where I'm going to go. And that's fine. Same train, different station, different
Mhm.
times. God ordained it.
Yeah, and I definitely think I was reflecting on this as I was reflecting on the lesson that I just shared, or what I learned about myself, that I think there will be a time where, God willing, I have kids and get to send them off into the world, and all of a sudden it's a lot more time with me and my husband.
Yeah.
Probably going to be an inward time at that point, right? More of a, oh, this is existential in a whole different way, like what
Mhm.
an empty nester, right? I think there's the ebbs and flows of what we're sharing, but we had a similar conversation uh maybe a few weeks ago, how we both started entering into this when we found our guys.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
think that's so natural, but something that I never expected. I never expected to feel these changes. And there's multiple changes, but the one that I'm addressing right now is, oh, I don't need the hours to myself, all of the journaling. I'm a little sad that I'm not journaling as much, so I think I'm
Mhm.
going to try and pick that up in the new year.
Yeah. I
But
totally stopped journaling once I was in a happy marriage.
yeah, it's also really like I'm celebrating it because oh, I'm not sad and uh upset and have to journal out my feelings to be okay for the day. That's actually a really great place to be. So I have a lot of gratitude towards that. But yeah, journaling less and just wanting to spend time, obviously, with my boyfriend, but also with friends more and in community, and just wanting. I used to really reserve multiple nights a week for just myself. Now I'm lucky if I get one.
Wow. I know. I'm actually back in that era where
Yeah,
I'm just sorry I say era so much. I the zillennial in me is like really coming out. Um, but I spend a lot of nights of the week alone because
you
I'm
know
just
what?
I don't I can't be bothered. I have
I'm
to work
ex-
on my crocheting projects and go to sleep early. And I probably will fall asleep very early because I the fatigue is real
yeah,
for my pregnancy.
yeah. I look forward to the day where I do spend more time by myself. But it's nice to just not feel like I don't need it, to not be
Mhm.
so reliant on that. And again, that goes into that word free. I feel free from, having to have these certain things in a certain way to be okay. Right.
Mhm.
So that
Yeah.
was the what I learned about myself this year.
Well, to be Y2K again, slay.
Slay.
Slay queen. By the way, I didn't say slay before you, and now
Mhm.
you have stopped saying it, but I
I
can't let it
know.
go.
You
And
say it
it's
more than me.
so annoying. It's so annoying. I could tell how annoying I'm being, but I can't stop
Oh,
saying
I
it.
like it. I like
Really?
it.
Well,
Yeah.
you made me do it, so I hope so.
Well, and you have to
Uh,
say it around the Christmas season with the intention you're saying it differently. SLEIGH.
so very good point. So I think that we're gonna wrap up with the like just finishing comments on the wisdom that changed us and helped us through the year. That's different than it's like not
Mhm.
things that we learned about ourselves and things that helped us through, as well as books. We always do this each year, but books, podcasters, and thought leaders that helped change our lives this year that were standouts. And then the things that we're hoping for in 2026. and the word of the year. So I think that we should like these are going to be shorter sections, so don't worry. But I could share like some wisdom that changed me was really just like a verse that I would like to share. Of I think I really when things got hard and I had these like hospital visits and my husband's car getting totaled, which ended up all for good. The Lord had a plan. We actually needed that check when it got totaled. And in Texas, you could keep on driving it. So, because it was just hail damage, it's fine. And my Facebook ads account got restricted again, and I got all sick. And then, like, insurance denied coverage for my hospital stay, but that ended
This
up
is
all working.
all in 1 month, by the way. Can we
One
add that
month. It was
context?
I called it my this summer was a cosmic joke, kind of. It was a lot. It was a lot. And then also just finding out at the same time as all of these things, the cause of my infertility isn't like take a vitamin. It's you have to have major abdominal surgery. And I was just like, okay, wow, wow, all this is a lot. And so I think that through that, I felt like a leaning into a paraphrasing of Job 121 of like, blessed is God who gives and takes away. Like, who am I to slander him when he decides when to give and he decides when to take away. And it's um along with God's sovereignty, there is just like also evil and fallenness in the world. So I'm not, I don't like to blame things on God, but I also don't assume that all the things that I think are bad are actually bad because He'll work them out for good. It promises that in Romans 8:28, and I love also the theme in at the end of Genesis, and I think chapter 50 or 51 of what man meant for evil, God meant for good, and even the saving of many lives. And so, yeah, blessed is the Lord who gives and takes away. Blessed is the Lord who gives and takes away. And my verse for the year that Audrey, you and I talked about a good bit is James. It's actually not Job 121. It's that was like a heart posture, but one thing that I actively had to repeat to myself was James 1 verses 2 through 4, where it says, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work in you so that you might be mature and lack not mature and complete, lacking nothing. Wow. That consider it pure joy, not just be grateful. Consider it pure joy, brothers and sisters, when you face trials of many kinds.
Hmm.
Any kind of trial. Pure joy. Wow. Dang.
It's
Like that
pure.
was,
It's not tainted. It's pure.
yes. That at times was just like mind-boggling of how to do this. Wow, how to do this. But the fact that like the Lord is inviting us to do this means that he provides a means to do it through his spirit. And that kind of requires like an out of body surrender, but the Lord is our helper, and it says, so ask for wisdom and it will be given to you. But don't like continuing to paraphrase, like after verses 5 and 6 it goes on to like how to do it is like, ask for wisdom, the Lord will give it to you, but don't be double-minded when you ask with faith, because those who don't ask with faith are double-minded, and all they do, they're like a wave tossed in the wind. And they're also like a person that when they receive wisdom and they look in the mirror, it's like a person that looks in the mirror and turns around and forgets what they look like. You don't want to be that person. And so it does require something from you, not just asking the Lord for wisdom, but hearing and doing it. And so I think that I just always have to say, wow, the Lord is the one that helps me realize everything that I need to realize. He's responsible for all my personal growth and the redemption of my setbacks and everything. And through all of this, I think a sub lesson was like, I just had to ask myself, this was really tied to my trying to conceive journey as like the months and then I guess it turned into years rolled on. I started to sense grief, and I had some tears, but my moments of exhaustion were really just like met with the Lord stirred up this in my spirit where it was like, wait, why do I feel entitled for this to be easy? Why did I feel entitled to get pregnant right away? And I didn't sense that as like God trying to shame me, like, hey, you little brat. But for real, like, why? I think a lot of pain in life is caused by an expectation that it was going to be easy, which is entitlement. And I, once I like started, the moment that line came up, I was like, oh, blessed is the Lord who gives and takes away. Blessed is the Lord who um, births me with a mutated blockage in my cervix. Blessed is the Lord, you know. And so he is the God of it all. And that is another thing that helped me stop thinking so much about myself and thinking more about God. God is awesome. He is all God Almighty, wonderful counselor, Prince of Peace. Like Isaiah chapter, what is that, 1:9 or 9:1? I don't know. It's in like it's the Christmas verse, okay? But
I think
whenever
one
he's
1:7 maybe something.
meow, I need to look this up. I'm going on vibes, but y'all know what passage I'm talking about in Isaiah, where it's talking about like, and it says all of those names, and it says, and the government will be placed on his shoulders. And I'm like, wow. By the time it gets to the end of that passage, I'm always like, baby Jesus came and he saved us and he's saving me now and he's in control of everything. And that just reminds me like the best part of life is God. And the point of God is to glorify him and love him, enjoy him forever. The point is not, and he does that by working through my business, not by causing me to love my business for my business itself. And he does that through my childbearing and through my marriage and through my material belongings that get given to me and then taken away. God is the point, just to do life with him. And I get so hyped up about that. Sorry if that sounds basic, but when God starts to like hit your soul with that revelation, it's like the Alpha and the Omega cares about me, little old me. That's crazy. Sorry, I have to stop talking. I'll give this one back to you. The ball is
Oh,
yours.
no, because I'm thinking about my list that I wrote. I'm like, this is all from my brain. From my brain. I actually don't want to talk about wisdom that comes from my brain. I want to double down on everything that you just said, and especially the question of did I expect or did I feel entitled for this to be easy? When you shared that with me back in June, that shook my world.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and James has been a lifeline for me this year as well. I actually opened my Bible this morning and you know the little bookmarks that come in the Bible. I was like, where is this bookmark? And it's on James, of course. It's always on James, and there it shall remain for the rest of my life.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah, I double down on everything that you're saying, and um, especially that. Just do I really feel entitled for this to be easy?
Mhm. Yeah.
Why? Why do I think that XYZ needs to
Yeah.
be easy? Why do I feel like I don't need to work on
Yeah.
whatever's in front of me? So
Exactly.
I'm with
And
you.
I realize that like through my transformed heart, like that lesson gives me a lot of joy. But if somebody is in a different place listening to that and they're like, ick, these girls have like a theology of suffering. Well, yes, I do. But like they believe what I mean by that is they believe that like Christians just have to like wear their sackcloth and ashes, and like the Lord doesn't help them out, and He always wants them to struggle to like learn a lesson and be better for heaven. Oh, my girl or guy, I don't feel that way.
Mm-mm.
I don't feel that way. I feel like I am frolicking in so much of the abundance of the Lord, and how good He is, that everything is grace, everything is a good and perfect gift from God. And that includes the things that I'm not assuming that everything's going to be super hard. I'm just also not assuming that it's going to be super easy. I was just trying to bring balance to the idea because I think it's like a new age thought of like, what is meant for me will not pass me. Everything flows to me effortlessly. Money comes to me effortlessly, 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 effortlessly. That makes you a spoiled brat that is not prepared for heaven. Not prepared for heaven. And so I think that the Lord will time and pace your lessons with utmost grace, and He'll provide ease. I ask Him for ease. I ask Him for job offers for our clients. I ask Him to end their time of waiting. I ask Him to end my time of waiting for certain things. I ask Him boldly for whatever I want. But I also am like, and if not, Lord, like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, I try to remember like those brothers of Christ in ancient times that said, even if you do not save me from the fire, though my God will, and he can, if he does not, I will still follow him and I will not deny him. Because the Lord strategically uses our slow death and literal death sometimes. Ego death and literal death is kind of what I meant. To multiply things like a seed that dies and becomes a fruit, a plant that blooms. And so, yeah, I don't think that just because we're like, oh, I don't feel entitled for it to be easy, it doesn't mean he doesn't just like magically make it easy sometimes. Like he does. He a good daddy, but not always. And that's okay.
Yeah. And as you were talking about that, I was just thinking about so many of the lessons that I've learned this year have been through falling in love. How magical and beautiful is that? Like,
I love it. So
that's,
easy. That's the cutest way to learn a lesson.
I know. How good is that? Also, listen to, actually, I recorded out of order, so I don't know what client success stories there are, but there have been a couple that I've recorded recently where I'm like, oh, I learned this lesson while falling in love, and I think it applies here.
Oh, that's so cute. I love
So,
that you do that.
it,
Never stop. Like, don't be ashamed of like the good things that you're receiving and sharing
yeah.
about that. Cause like it encourages people to remember the magic of when they were in early love or the hope that they have for like that season. So share it, do it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Books, podcasters, and thought leaders that changed our lives.
I think my list last year for all of these things was a lot longer. We went brief because I'm like, it's not that complicated. Honestly, I have no business or career books. Last year, it was like all business stuff, and career stuff. But this year, honestly, I just really liked the this podcast for like health and wellness. That's from like a Christian perspective. It's Alex Clark's Culture Apothecary. I loved learning more about my body and my health and learning how to it just like gave me a vision for things that I could do to yeah, just like live in fullness in that category. And I loved it. Like she's such a good interviewer. So really appreciated Alex Clark's Cultural Apothecary. And then I also not a career book, but I another standout for me has been Ina May's Guide to Childbirth. Now that the Lord is putting me into like preparing for motherhood season, he changed my heart again. Like he always does this. Like I might not, I'm for sure not going to have all of my thoughts developed about like the theology of work or what life will be like once I'm in my dream job. It's just like once I'm in it, the Lord will teach me what he needs to teach me and I will have like huge awakening moments. And then similarly with marriage, I had thoughts about childbearing, family planning, marriage on day one after being married that were just like beamed down from God that I did not have the day before I got married. And similarly, once I got pregnant, he like beamed down like all of these thoughts about I thought I was going to do like full hook me up to the epidural if you want to do a home birth, I'm judging you because you apparently don't care if you and your baby die. I thought that about my sister-in-law that did a home birth
Mm.
last year. And then I get pregnant and the Lord just sends me so many things to say, hey, I have something for you, like in the experience of birth. And I want you to prepare to actually embrace the labor, the full experience of labor, as something that I designed
Mm.
for you to realize things and like really be ushered into like your motherhood. And I call it, I've kind of started to call it like unmedicated childbirth. To me, I jokingly refer to it as the female crucifixion experience. But I'm like, if that's if it could be like, wow, like look at how that's so significant that the Lord, I think so much of like everything that is good in my life came through an experience that felt like a birth canal. So he just like really changed my mind about pain avoidance and made me want to pursue and plan for natural home birth. Um, Not because like I want to be better than everybody. It's not because like I listened to the Alex Clark podcast or anything. It's like I just really feel like God has something for me there. Even if it's scary and even if it doesn't ultimately end in me completing the birth at home or unmedicated. Um, yeah, I feel like preparing for it already has been so awesome. I've loved reading or listening to Ina May's Guide to Childbirth because it just like includes a ton of stories, positive stories about birth. And wow, I love that God designed women to do this. I love it. So, yeah, I mean, don't be surprised if I like low key become a doula one day, but just kidding. Not for me, I don't think. But never say never. I had dinner with my doula last night. I like cooked her this like 3-course thing, and I just asked her like so many questions. I freaking love hanging out with birth workers so
Oh
much,
my
and we were just like
God.
nerding out together. She laughed at me so hard when I asked, not like in a very nice way, when I asked her, "Hey, can I ask some more questions about birth?" And she's like, "Of course, that's why I'm here." And she goes, I say, so can my if I like birth it in the tub, can it drown? And she was like almost spat out her water because she was like talking me through the mechanics of how it worked. And
We
I'm
all
asking,
were wondering. We all
we
were
all
wondering
were
the same
wondering.
thing.
Yeah, she like explained and yeah, it was hilarious. So I'm just loving learning about all of that. And my doula and midwife are like amazing Christian women that I'm really loving just getting to know too. It's cool to like have a personal birth experience.
Yeah.
Instead of not knowing who's going to show up in the hospital rotation.
Mm. Ooh.
Wow, okay,
Left behind.
internal shudder.
They gave me shiver.
Yes.
um, wow. Thanks for sharing, Kelsey. I loved seeing the difference between your books last year, books and podcasts last year, and the ones this year. I think
This
it's
girl has been softened.
yeah, it's a beautiful um, transition. Mine, I don't know that I have anything to offer here. I was in my big fiction era this year. I actually, speaking of falling in love, I was just reading Nicholas Sparks for like half the
Girl,
year, and it was
yeah,
amazing. It was so amazing. I was having so much fun. I will
I
say
love that.
a very important book I read in my personal life I had already shared, but it was The Meaning of Marriage, which I realized that I had a lot of fears around marriage. And I just asked God, I was like, what do you want me to know about this? I have these fears. What do you want me to do? And before I could even answer the question, he's like, dive into it, learn more, get in there, stop avoiding it. And so I picked up the book, and immediately my heart was changed. And I was like, oh, this is marriage? This is what it's about? Oh, okay. And a lot of those fears, I was able to break down a lot of those fears and work
Oh,
through
so
them and
good.
still am. Um, but it's been so wonderful. So that's, I guess, Tim Keller would be my guy this year that
Him.
I'm
God bless
recommending.
him. He's with
Yeah.
the Lord. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
So I guess this is like really just closing in on the things that we're hoping for now in 2026. Do you want to share yours?
I'm hoping to get married.
Yay!
And you know what? If I can call on the listeners of this podcast, if you would love to pray that I can get married this year, uh, I'm sure all of you are connected to the wedding industry in some way or have been familiar with it. It's tough to do engagement and marriage in 1 year with venues from what I've seen around me. And I have a dream venue. They have a date available that works really well with my schedule. So I'm,
Including football season, which is important for you.
yes, yes. So that's the prayer that that date can happen. I'm not checking in. I'm leaning back. I'm not being super controlling about it, or hopefully not controlling at all. I did email them in a moment of panic to get the date to see if it was available, and it was.
Mm.
But from a worldly viewpoint, it's not going to stay available. But with God, I believe that it can. And if it's not, it's okay. But the prayer is that that venue is available on that date.
That's
And that would
right.
be really great. So it'll be an exciting year of my whole life changing in that way, hopefully, God willing. And that's beautiful. As far as work goes, looking forward into the new year, I'm really excited. I've been throwing around this word that I didn't really know what it meant, but it's instrumentation. And
It's right.
I got it from Brene Brown. And basically it's coming up with tools and mechanisms around these concepts, right? And there's a much better scientific definition of that, but that's how I understand it. And I'm hoping to bring some instrumentation, some more of it to the process that we have at the Called Career to just continue leveling up this program
Yeah.
and serving people beyond anything that we could imagine or could do with just our hands. I want it
Yeah.
to be coming from the Lord.
Yeah. I love that, Audrey. Thank you so much for sharing. And we're just like, all of that is for the purpose of increasing, like, and improving the metrics that our clients care about, which is like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, no, success rate on like discernment of calling and like a confidence about next step and like time to hire after that or time to launch a business. And that like I want to say also like God doesn't always measure the success of your job hunt by how quickly it happens, but just like we're wanting to have increasing compassion on our clients that like do have a financial runway in unemployment and things like that. So always just at the service of people that like really it takes a lot of trust to hand over their hard-earned dollars to ask for help. So want to
And I did get feedback. Actually, now that we're talking about this, I got feedback about this recently. We have a testimony on feedback form that is so, so helpful. And somebody actually did say this in different words, like more data around everything would be helpful.
oh
Like,
nice.
yes, let me do that for you. Let me do
Let
that for
me
you.
do that for you. Okay, amazing. Love it.
What
We're
are
going to be
you
in our
hoping
data
for?
era. I'm
We're
hoping for I'll go with work first. So I think that initially I've just been thinking, okay, next year is probably more of a stabilizing year, just to make sure that and I also share this in the my testimony about my 2-year fertility journey. That's coming out in a few weeks. But just to also say this here, my plan right now, Lord willing, for a maternity leave is 6 weeks, which some people think I've been getting various feedback. A lot of people told me like that's short, but a lot of people are like, oh, that's great. So, to each their own. But I could have gone longer, but I chose to initially at this point. Again, I don't know what's going to happen at that point, but plan for a 6 week maternity leave around June when she's born. And then after that, come back part-time, but assuming like full responsibility. So it's not, basically the headline is no service disruption to any of our clients. So it really is smooth operations. That's what I want to make sure of. So this year, like the birth of my child is like hardly remarkable to anybody that we serve. Because summer is still like a great time to get jobs. So we want to help you through that. And by God's grace and like the strength of my dear Audrey, thank you very much for helping that be possible, that we could plan for a time where I'm doing a maternity leave, and Lord willing, hopefully for you too one day. But yeah, I just am, the thing that I'm mainly hoping for in 2026 professionally is like just a really smooth year, building up savings for that maternity leave time and systems just to make sure everybody is really, really supported. And beyond that, I'm thinking I might open my heart to growth if it's still a little tender, but I'm thinking about some new things that we could do, like partnerships with other, like I said, the Christian newsletters that maybe I could do a few more free challenges. Like last year, that was our biggest month and served, I think it was like 700 people that went through that. It
So
was,
cool.
I really pray, and I think it did serve the kingdom. And I was so glad to do that. So I think I'll do that like a couple more times next year, Lord willing.
Huh.
Last thing, yeah, I'd love to just, my aspiration personally is to handle the birth and transition into motherhood with grace by leaning on Jesus. So my word for the year is literally just Jesus. Do you have a word for the year?
I was struggling because, like I said earlier, my word typically comes to me later, in a more reflective time. But a word that is coming up for me in the past couple days has been ownership. I just want to
Mm,
take more ownership of my
yeah.
health. I've been very inspired by you on your
Thank
journey, and ownership of health, but also ownership of my theology and my time and all these things. But I am a little worried that that can become very self-serving and could create some idols. So that's why I'm not totally on that word yet. I think that word, if I'm going to predict what's going to happen, it's going to open up a different word for me. It's getting me on the path, and
Just
then
like last year,
just like
rejuvenation to
last
light.
year.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
So
cool.
that's what I'm thinking. But I mean, if my word's Jesus too, then that works for me.
I know, always a good
That works.
fallback. Just Jesus juke the word of the year
Yeah.
concept.
Yeah.
Last year I asked Kevin, "What is your word for the year?" and he said 2025, and I said, "Get out of town! Stop that!"
What is,
He
I don't even
slays
know
me.
what that did to me just there.
I love that his brain works like that. Like I know that he wouldn't do this, but sometimes that kind of response reminds me of the kind of people that when you ask them what the gospel is, they go Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. That always slays me. Sleigh. Okay, I think that's enough chatter from us too. Thank you so much for doing this with me, Audrey, and to the listener. Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in to hear about our 2025 in review and our 2026 hopes ahead. Um, if you're on YouTube, I hope that you enjoy my girl cat bathing herself in the background in her princess tower. Um, Go subscribe to us on YouTube if you're not already there. And if you would like to leave us a Christmas present for all the work that we put into this free resource for you this year, please leave a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I realize I do not ask for that enough at all. And so therefore, I'm just being humble for nothing. I would love it if you could go leave a review and help us out.
Please.
Please, please. All right. What a low vibe note to end this podcast on, but seriously, please do it. Merry Christmas. God bless you. Bye.
Happy New Year.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. To get an even more meaningful head start into your calling, head to thecalledcareer.com, where my fellow career coach Audrey and I have created a whole suite of free resources and tools to help you get clear and get a job today. For those who are definitely ready to land a job or start a business in the next 6 to 12 months, we're here to help you biblically and practically discern your calling through coaching, reflection, and deep market research. Identify the job that's aligned with it, even if you currently have no idea what you want. Rebrand your resume and LinkedIn to translate your background to appeal to your future boss. P.S. We take this off your plate and do this for you. Also, we'll teach you how to land referrals and get attention from leadership through networking. Again, if that makes you nervous, we have these emails and LinkedIn messages literally written for you so you don't have to sweat. We're also here to give you unlimited interview practice so you're prepared to address every elephant in the room and knock selling yourself out of the park. Then we'll round out with helping you negotiate your salary so you land thousands more. Just so you know, recent clients have gotten $8,000 to $50,000 salary increases, even though they were totally non-traditional candidates. That's because we specialize in helping non-traditional career pivoters land jobs they're ecstatic to serve in. It takes work, but we're here to see you through until the end, when we're celebrating that day that you send me an email in all caps and you say, Kelsey, I got the job. Then you could be on the podcast. But I'll be here until then, keeping you accountable and encouraged by meeting with you literally until you land the job you want, even if that's up to 6 months from now within our program. Apply to join at thecalledcareer.com, and I'll see you next week here at Answer the Call. Bye for now.